Today I'm going to give you two parts. Today is number one part on auctions and how to bid at an auction. I do this on a fairly regular basis, and it's important to understand the do's, the don'ts, and the insider information of how a professional like me will go to an auction and buy. A misconception, actually, it's very interesting that many clients think, oh, well, he buys everything at auction, I will too. Well, the reality is it's a very small percent of what we buy. And generally when we do buy something at auction, it's because it's either a very specific piece or sometimes we're buying for a client who needs our expertise and wants to have the kind of things I'm going to teach you right now on what the do's and don'ts are if you're buying at an auction. So today's lesson is the beginning, the setup, how to buy as a professional. First of all, when you go to an auction, and we're talking about auctions where you'll actually attend and bid live versus an internet. Internet auctions are a different ball of wax, and I have a video on how to bid and how to look at artwork on the internet, so you can go to that. But we're going to a live auction. First of all, probably the most important tip that you can take away from this is please go and see it in person. Don't use photographs on this, especially if it's a very expensive piece. A professional can maybe get away with it, and I do it sometimes on a field that I know very, very well and feel extremely comfortable with who I'm talking to on the other end of the line and seeing the photographs. But even myself, I try to always view it in person, because if I don't, you're going to get burned. It happens every time. You'll get the piece and you go, I didn't see that crack, or it's a little lopsided. There's something that you can't appreciate, at least in the technology we have currently, that you could if you used your own eyes and hands and senses and felt the piece. Two, when you go talk to whoever is doing the auction. They'll give you information that you might not have ever expected, like, hey, we really have a lot of interest in this piece, or we don't have really any interest. You just don't know. Or they may say, yeah, well, I think there may have been a little something going on with this piece at one time, I'm not sure. You can get a condition report, and you should. A condition report will explain somebody has looked at the piece, and here's the problems or no problems that they found with whether it's a painting or a piece of pottery. There always should be a condition report, and with major auction houses, that's a given. Minor auction houses, sometimes you're just not going to get it, which again means you need to look at the piece yourself and make your own determinations. I always look at a condition report, but quite frankly, the only one I really trust is me, because sometimes I see these condition reports and they're either just don't get the gravity of what's going on with the piece, or sometimes it's the other way around. So go look at it, talk to the auctioneer, talk to the person who owns the auction house, and find out as much information as you can. Next thing, before you ever bid, you need to know how much you're going to spend on it. Professionals set a number, that's it, they're done. I'm a professional. Before I ever bid, I know exactly what I'm going to pay, and this includes the buyer's premium. Do not forget the buyer's premium. This can be between 20 and 25% of the cost of your object. So if they're knocking it down at $1,000, you're paying $1,200. Don't forget this. Don't think, oh, I got it for $1,000, because quite frankly, you didn't. You paid $1,200, and if you didn't take that into consideration, then you're not a professional. The other thing you need to do and consider is taxes. Are there going to be taxes involved? Generally, if you're going to the auction and bidding on it live, you're going to have to pay taxes if you bought it, unless you have a resale license and are a dealer. You need to take this into consideration when you're paying these. Many of the auction houses are in major cities like New York or LA, San Francisco, and they have fairly significant tax rates. So you have to build this into the cost of what you're going to pay. One other thing is that you go to one of these auction houses, you need to be able to, if you're smart, talk to the auctioneer, the actual person who's going to be taking the bids, if it's something you really want. If this is something that you really desire, make sure they know who you are, that you're interested, that you're planning on bidding. You may even let them know where you're going to sit. These are a few little tips that I'm going to give you on auctions. Stay tuned for my next lecture. Is going to be the specifics of where to sit.